It's Ash from SuperVideos back for another video for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live. Today we're going to be talking about an interview that Scott Gimple did with Brendan Davis from comicbook.com where he teased two big things. One, regarding a character return in The Ones Who Live, another Walking Dead character besides Jadis. We're going to talk about some speculations as far as who it could be. And also, we're going to talk about something else that Gimple teased, which was that we're finally going to get an explanation about what the PPP card meant, which we saw in Season 7 of The Walking Dead, which was the episode where Heath disappeared. So stay tuned, we'll be right back to break this down. Alright, as always, before we dive into it, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. With that said, let's dive right into it. So first things first, let's talk about the PPP card. Of course, this was the card that Tara found, and there's been a lot of speculations as far as what that was and when we're going to get an answer as far as what PPP means. Although they have confirmed at this point that Heath was actually traded to the CRM by Jadis, we don't exactly know what the PPP card is and what it means. What Scott Gimple did say, though, is that the original idea for the PPP card has been sitting on the shelf for 2 years, and we might get an answer of what it is. He didn't specifically say we're going to see it in The Ones Who Live, but the way he said it made it seem like we're definitely going to get that in The Ones Who Live. Also, what he talked about is the idea that they tried to keep things vague until they knew more about what direction they were going to go with the story. So that made me think that they probably wanted to use the CRM 3-circle emblem for the PPP card, but at that time, they probably didn't have an idea of what it would look like. Now, of course, Rick did see the CRM helicopter, which had the CRM emblem on it, but that was in Season 8, during All Out War. So at that point, in Season 7, when they did the PPP card thing, they didn't know what the CRM logo was going to look like. So they just went with something. So I think at this point, they pretty much pushed themselves into a corner because this PPP card was never supposed to be PPP. It was supposed to be the emblem for the CRM. But now, of course, they have to explain what it is. And I'm sure that they have thought about ideas in these 2 years that it's been sitting in the shelf. And they've been trying to figure out a good, clever way to connect this to the CRM in some way, shape, or form. Now, this is a great segue to our next topic. Who is the other character that's gonna cameo other than Jadis? Because Jadis has already been confirmed. She was in the trailer. Not much there to really surprise us. But he said that there's another Walking Dead character. Now, of course, the two characters that come up right away, because we're talking about the PPP card, are Tara and Heath. Because, of course, we know that Jadis was involved. So maybe it's Jadis who tells maybe Rick or someone else about what happened to Heath. She traded Heath to the CRM. So if that ends up happening, then we could see a cameo by Tara or Heath. Not that Heath is alive right now, but it'll be a flashback. The other possibility, of course, is that it's going to be Silas. Now, when it comes to Silas, Jadis is still involved because Jadis was the one that got Silas into the CRM, into the Civic Republic military as a soldier. So I think that it makes perfect sense for Silas to be the one that cameos or even shows up in the story because he's one of the soldiers. Now, it was rumored that this character is going to return in the 3rd episode. So if Silas comes back, it'll be in the 3rd episode. Or if it's Tara or Heath or whatever the case may be, they'll be cameoing in the 3rd episode. Now, another rumor that's very popular is that it's going to be Morgan Jones. At the end of Morgan's Fear the Walking Dead story, he did leave with his daughter Mo, with a walkie in hand, searching for Rick Grimes, which was obviously a great full circle moment because that's how their story started, communicating through a walkie. So it was great in that sense because it circled things back around. There's a lot of theories out there that Morgan is going to be the one that shows up in The Ones Who Live. Now, I have two issues with this. First things first, actually, I don't think that it's Morgan. I think if it's Morgan, then you're really robbing fans of other reunions that we should see and just giving us this reunion. I think the reunion with Rick and Judith and RJ and Daryl and even maybe Maggie and Negan is more important and a better payoff than a reunion with Morgan. Not that we don't need a reunion between Rick and Morgan, but if we're not going to get any of the other ones, then it doesn't make sense to see the reunion with Rick and Morgan. You know what I mean? So I don't think that it's going to happen just because of that. The other issue that I also have with it is if it's true that it's going to be in the third episode, it feels off because this is a type of moment that you would put at the end of the series because it's just so impactful and huge. Of course, not as impactful and huge as if it was like RJ and Judith and Daryl, but you get what I mean. So that's the other reason why I don't think it makes much sense. Also, why in the hell would Morgan even be at the CRM? I know that Morgan knows about the CRM, but what would get him to be captured by the CRM? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that don't necessarily line up. I think for Morgan, the first thing he's going to try to do is go back to Alexandria. He doesn't even know about Commonwealth, so he would go back to Alexandria. From there, he might be able to find out about Commonwealth and everything, but even at that point, he's going to realize that Rick is not there. Rick is supposedly dead. So I don't think that at that point he would have any motivation to continue looking for Rick if he thinks he's dead. And I don't think that Daryl and Judith and everyone would have told most people about Rick still possibly being alive. The only way that this might work is if Judith tells Morgan that Rick is alive and Michonne is out there looking for him. Something like that. That's the only way that that might potentially work. But other than that, I don't really see it. And of course, by the time Morgan gets to Commonwealth, Daryl is probably going to be gone. Michonne is obviously gone. Carol is probably gone. So there is really no character there close to Morgan other than maybe Ezekiel and Jerry who would tell him this information. And that's obviously assuming that Jerry and Ezekiel even know about Rick possibly being alive. I don't know if any of that information was shared with everybody else. You know what I mean? But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through in this video. I think that it's more likely that the person who's going to return is either Silas or maybe Heath or Tara in a flashback scene. I don't think that it'll be Morgan. I think it gets complicated if you bring Morgan into the picture. And I don't think that it would be good for the story. You know what I mean? Like, it might be cool, but it's not good for the story. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to join our community, and press the bell to be notified when I upload on the channel. That's it for this video. See you next time for another super video.